Love is Blind, the show where people fall in love and get married after speaking through a wall. But what's happened to the cast of season 3 since the show aired? Well, spoiler alert, because things have got wild.
Since then, a lot has changed. My world is completely different.
From breakups and cheating scandals to fallouts with the production crew and even a baby. Let's dive in, and there's no better place to start than with Bartise and Nancy.
Like, we're done.
Alright then.
So Bartise and Nancy are perhaps the most memorable couple from season 3. As I'm sure you recall, Bartise, or Barista as his friends call him, created a kind of pod-based love triangle between himself, Nancy, and Raven, who he fantasised about for the whole season, both in and out of the pods.
Raven looks damn good. I mean, she looks fucking incredible. Look at her. She's wearing a tight dress. She has a great body. Raven's a baddie. Raven's 100% a smoke show.
Now, when it came down to it, Bartise did eventually choose Nancy, but they were pretty much incompatible in every single way. For example, Nancy was pro-choice. She was a proud egg donor, whereas Bartise's views were radically different.
Like, your child had a birth defect and you could abort the pregnancy, but do you want to keep the baby?
Yeah, keep the baby. What the yeah. That's fucking rough. I could not do that. I'm sorry.
I think it's different for me.
And while Nancy was older, had an established career and a property portfolio, Bartise was still starting out in his career. But the main issue between them seemed to be Bartise's superficial nature. Physical appearance was everything for him.
If she were to gain 400 pounds?
If you were to gain 400 pounds, would you still love her?
So I'm not gonna sit here and tell you physical attraction doesn't mean anything. Listen, looks do fucking matter. It's not superficial of me to say. It's human nature of me to say looks fucking matter.
Yeah, he became one of Love is Blind's biggest villains, and he seems pretty unapologetic about it. And it all culminated in him rejecting Nancy on their wedding day. Not cool, bro.
If so, say I do. I do not.
No,
Why would you do all this to bring us here? Why would you do all this just to bring us here? Just say, I don't.
I don't owe you any answers, bro. I owe her all the answers.
I'm bringing y'all here to waste our motherfucking time with my sister.
Things definitely got very heated at the end. But where are these two now? Well, predictably, they have gone their separate ways. As of the summer of 2023, Nancy has been seeing a mystery man. He clearly knows her worth. He seems to be treating her right, because based on her Instagram posts, he's been showering her with flowers and affection, and presumably no insults.
Raven's like the typical girl that I would go after in the real world. Like, Raven's, she came down, she wearing the tight clothes. I was like, okay, she's a fucking smoke show. She's hot as shit. I was like, okay.
Like, what the fuck?
Nancy's also been very busy expanding her real estate empire, exactly as she said she would do. She's a real property mogul, but it isn't even her main job. She still works as a speech pathologist, but the money that she's making from her rental properties has helped her already pay off all of her student debt. She's obviously very good with money, and she's happy to share tips on her Instagram page, Financy Talks.
I am very hands-off, and I have certain systems in place that can run the business without me being there.
So what about Bartise? Well, he's recently announced that he's given up his day job. He's no longer working as a CPA. His two primary sources of income are now social media and OnlyFans. But he also gave love another shot on the Netflix show Perfect Match, which featured other contestants from different reality dating shows.
I'm gonna be looking like a fucking dick.
Yeah, you are.
I don't give a fuck how I look.
It's safe to say he didn't exactly come across well. Ultimately, he didn't find love because, shock horror, wait for it, his head was always being turned by other beautiful ladies. He was always looking for the next best thing. Sound familiar?
I went on a great date with LC, but I was thinking about Abby the whole time.
Surprisingly, Bartise has actually become a father since the show aired, but it wasn't exactly planned. His son is called Hayden, but the identity of the mother is being kept private. All we know is that they're not in a relationship. In his own words, he had, quote, a whole relationship between Love is Blind and Perfect Match, filmed Perfect Match, came back, conceived a son. Busy few months then, Bartise. With that being said, he is in a new relationship with a lady called Kate Vanderbury. For now, the two seem pretty loved up, and maybe she'll be the one that makes him change his ways. Speaking of changing ways, let's talk about Matt and Colleen.
No matter what we went through and how we came back from that, I have grown so much more in love with you every single day.
So one couple that are proving they are the perfect match, despite intense criticism, are Colleen and Matt. They had a pretty up and down, tumultuous journey on the show. The pair seemed to form a really deep connection in the pods, and in fact, one of their first conversations, quite a foreshadowing conversation, was about Matt sharing that he'd been married super young, but got divorced at 24, and had a lot of emotional baggage because of it.
Life throws shit in your face.
Yeah.
And it's tough to become vulnerable again after something like that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as the season progressed, it became more and more obvious that Matt was still carrying around that baggage from a 10-year relationship and bringing it into his relationship with Colleen. He completely blew up at her several times once they were out of the pod, once even getting angry because she went out with her friends, and that made people super weary of him.
I don't want to be with a girl that's going to be out till fucking 2 o'clock in the morning.
You know
on
that
Wednesday.
she's not like that normally, dude.
How do I know what she's like?
You've been looking for a fucking problem the whole time here, dude.
Maybe I have.
But, contrary to what most people were saying on Twitter, the pair said yes at the altar. And by the time the reunion rolled around, they were still together. But people began speculating about the state of their relationship. Because despite being married, they revealed that they weren't living together. And it got deeper than that, because after the altar, fans also noticed the pair almost seemed to tolerate each other rather than really enjoy each other's company.
And you poke and prod me. I hate that too.
Kind of poke her in the ear and stuff like that, and she hates it.
So, why?
It's my love language. It's fun. It gets a reaction out of you. It's fun.
That's an interesting love language, to say the least, Matt. So where are they today? Well, they are defying the odds. They are still together. That despite the fact that Colleen was recently seen not wearing her engagement ring. So why? Why wasn't she wearing it? Well, she explained that she's actually waiting for Matt to get back down on one knee again. She wants him to propose again, this time so she can actually see it rather than be separated by a wall. They recently celebrated their second wedding anniversary, choosing to keep things quite low-key around friends and family. But they do seem very loved up, especially on Instagram, where they make a point of sharing their married life together. So what about their living arrangements? Are they still living separately? Well, no, actually. They've just made the leap and finally moved in together. But living together is no walk in the park, and it's sure to come with its own set of challenges. In fact, Colleen recently shared that they're still trying to figure things out. Who takes out the trash? Who does the washing up? You know, the usual. So, do they compromise? Do they set up a schedule? Well, not exactly. Colleen has her own system. She makes Matt do it all. Sounds like a drama-free solution. And speaking of drama, that leads us nicely onto Raven and SK.
So have you guys talked since then, been out since then, hooked up since then?
But yes.
On the face of it, Raven and SK seem to be the power couple of the season. They seem to have an unbreakable bond. It was all going so smoothly.
No one has ever gotten any of this out of me in my whole life.
Wow. Whew, we're starting with the heavy stuff today.
I know.
Now, admittedly, things were a little rocky at the start. Raven kind of seemed like she had one foot in and one foot out. But as the season progressed, they seemed to go from strength to strength. Raven was welcomed with open arms into SK's family. which made it all the more shocking when it was SK that said "I don't" at the altar.
I do not.
So why? Why didn't they get married? Well, his reasoning was that since he was moving out of town for school, he didn't think it would be appropriate to start married life together with that distance between them.
You know, it's not just about me having to leave after our marriage. It's also about like her not being flexible, you know, to, for example, maybe move to California with me.
By the time filming wrapped, the pair had broken up. But then, by the time the reunion rolled around, they revealed that they were back together. We were rooting for them. They'd overcome the obstacles and then they got engaged again, on camera, during After the Altar. It seemed like a true love story, warts and all.
Raven Michelle, will you marry me again?
Yes.
But the joy didn't last long, because in November 2022, right after the finale aired, it was alleged that SK had been cheating. I know, crazy, right? Sweet SK, the guy that seemed to be so mature, so in love. I didn't think he had it in him, but he did. He really did. He was reportedly seeing another woman whilst dating Raven, and the other lady in question took to her TikTok channel to spill the tea. She shared snaps of their lavish holidays together and lots of messages, including timestamps. Unsurprisingly, the video went kind of viral. The internet went wild for these rumours. Raven took to Instagram to share a story stating that the pair were separating, and she stipulated that due to ongoing legal proceedings surrounding these allegations, she couldn't share the intimate details about the breakdown of the relationship. That all seemed very ambiguous. Did it mean that SK was taking legal proceedings against a TikTok lady? Could that perhaps explain why that video was subsequently deleted? Perhaps. He's since come out publicly and apologised for his actions. He's apologised for publicly embarrassing Raven. Sadly, the apology wasn't enough to bring them back together, and today, Raven is in a happy relationship with a mystery man that she chooses to keep private. As for SK, well, he's recently graduated from school in California, and hopefully his shady days are well and truly behind him. From the looks of things, he seems to be keeping a very low profile, particularly on social media, and honestly, that might be for the best. Now, from one relationship tragedy to arguably the most successful Love is Blind love story, let's talk about Alexa and Brennan.
I now pronounce you husband and wife. Brennan, you may kiss your bride. Finally.
So Alexa and Brennan were basically season 3's golden couple. They were the Lauren and Cameron of the season. They faced very few obstacles and everything just seemed to work for them. It all just clicked into place. The food, the laughter, even the sex. The biggest issue these two faced was more the fact that Brennan's a country boy, whereas Alexa's a big city girl. You know, all the stuff that rom-coms and Taylor Swift songs are made of.
You've definitely been like my favorite person to have a conversation with, and I feel like you and I are like very similar in a lot of ways.
Things you say just like pull at my heartstrings.
Really?
Yeah.
From both the reunion and also the follow-up After the Altar episodes, Alexa and Brennan proved they were solid. Their relationship was as strong as it gets. They even solved one of the main issues in their relationship, Brennan's dress sense. But over the course of their life after the altar, Alexa's fan favourite father had a few choice words for Brennan, particularly about his financial status.
I always told you a country boy would be well suited for you. And no offense, I think she has the upper hand. I would level that out a little bit.
And yeah, while we don't actually know about the figures in his bank balance, it does seem like these two are both doing pretty well for themselves. They've been travelling the world together, eating good food, and living that all-round bougie lifestyle that her dad so badly wanted for her. And since the show, they've even welcomed a new addition to their family. That's right, they've had a baby. A fur baby, that is. The gorgeous fluffster Lockie joined Alexa, Brennan and Tito to officially make them a family of 4, for now. But speaking of babies, we've got to talk about Cole and Zanab.
I know I love you, but everything in me and the logical part of my brain tells me that love shouldn't feel this way. Love shouldn't hurt like this.
Look, Cole and Zanab had a very strange dynamic throughout their time on the show. Cole was like a 5-year-old boy, and Zanab took on the role of mothering him in many ways. And while the pod experience went smoothly for them, outside of the pod was a total roller coaster. You see, at first, Cole got by on his boyish charm, and Zanab became obsessed. Like really, really obsessed.
What isn't it about Cole that I'm into? Everything that comes out of Cole's mouth is my favorite thing. I like how he just breaks out in song from time to time.
But things didn't really go to plan. Mostly because Cole seemed to have the emotional intelligence of a 5-year-old. Zanab found herself falling into the role of a parent rather than a lover. That included her nagging him a bit, which led to many viewers disliking her.
Oh my gosh, with cooking chicken. What is wrong with you? Thank you.
Are you mad?
But beyond that, beyond Cole wanting to play games while Zanab made his dinner for him, Cole was also pretty cruel to Zanab. He said some really hurtful things. Like, he rated her looks. He compared her to other women from the show that he was more attracted to. And that's not to even mention the fact that he continuously insinuated that she had mental problems. Yeah, this was a lot, and for this to have worked, love would not only have to be blind, but also deaf, because some of the things that came out of Cole's mouth were outrageous.
It's really crappy to hear that the man you love and the man that you're engaged to is like, oh yeah, I'm physically attracted to this girl. You're a 9 out of 10, but she's a 10 out of 10. Super shitty to hear.
At the altar, Zanab really let Cole have it. She held nothing back. She told him that he was responsible for destroying her self-confidence, all as her friends whooped and hollered in the background. Then she stormed out of the room. She left Cole in a flood of tears. Again, many viewers felt that she was too harsh. They felt that the punishment didn't fit the crime.
You have disrespected me, you have insulted me, you have critiqued me. For what it is worth, you have single-handedly shattered my self-confidence. And I hate that you have had that kind of effect on me.
But at the reunion, Zanab once again came in all guns blazing. She accused him of making snide remarks about her weight and her eating habits.
I stopped eating. I was eating like a banana and a teaspoon of peanut butter just so I wouldn't like pass out on the long days we were filming.
The entire time, Cole looked like a wreck. He looked like a shadow of himself, so remorseful, taking full accountability for his actions. You could practically smell the therapy off him, and good for him.
And I mean, I said some things that I would never say. And like, watching it destroyed me.
The thing is, Cole adamantly denies ever criticising Zanab for her diet or her weight. Luckily, production had the exact conversation that Zanab was referencing, and the truth came out. Cole wasn't lying. He never judged her for eating an orange.
Killing oranges? Are you about to eat 2 of those?
Maybe. That's a serving. You okay with that?
You better save your appetito.
I mean, it doesn't really sound like he's shaming her to me. If anything, he's just trying to make sure she saves enough room for an even bigger meal with him later. I mean, he may have a lot of faults, but I don't think that was one of them. But that previously unaired scene caused an absolute debate online. Love is Blind fans split into Team Cole or Team Zanab.
You only had a banana today?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Oh, I could
I
definitely tell you, but I probably shouldn't.
Thankfully, today, both of these two seem like they're in a much better headspace than they were on the show, which frankly shouldn't be too difficult. Cole is pretty tight-lipped about his love life, but in an interview with Us Weekly earlier this year, Nancy dropped a bombshell by claiming that Cole tried to date one of his castmates after Zanab dumped him. Unfortunately, she didn't reveal who that was, but I'd love to hear your take on who you think it may have been. Let me know in the comments down below. Now, Cole remains as goofy as ever. He seems to have regained his mojo, and he's pretty active on TikTok. Many of his fans are happy he's no longer with Zanab. They leave in comments like, Zay would be telling him to grow up and turn it down. Now, there are rumours that Cole may be about to appear on the same dating show that Bartise took part in, The Perfect Match. For now, they are just rumours, but I can't lie, I would like to see him on the screen again. I would like to see if he's grown up at all, if he's ready or capable of getting in a serious relationship. As for Zanab, well, she sparked rumours of marriage when she posted these photos on Instagram. But it turns out she was just shooting bridal photos. It was a modelling shoot. She clapped back at haters by posting this video, mouthing, "I don't care, I'm gonna do me," in response to the question, "Aren't you embarrassed to put on a wedding dress again?" Zanab's revealed that she's done a lot of work on herself. She's gone to therapy and she's in a much better place now. But she is still very angry with Love is Blind producers, who she claims protected Cole and painted her out to be a liar. So there you have it. Is love blind? Well, yeah, kind of for some people. But for others, whether it's arguing about oranges or falling out with family, love requires a lot more work.